After love at first sight, I became his backup for 2 whole years. Just when I thought I had it in the bag, I found a photo of his first love in his study. In a fit of rage, I packed my bags and returned home to fulfill an arranged marriage with my sweetheart. But he called me 800 times, adamantly saying, "Come back, marry me." Who are you? Do we even know each other that well? Mandy, who let you into my study? Jack reached the desk full of icy demeanor, getting there a step ahead and turning the photo frame face down. The woman's long, straight black hair from the photo flashed before my eyes. Jack, have you always had someone you liked? I tried hard to hold back the tears welling up in my eyes, staring straight at Jack. Silence stretched between us, and for a brief moment, I saw a flicker of guilt on his face, a look I'd never seen before. This has nothing to do with you. Jack dragged me out of the study. Just because my mom likes you doesn't mean you're free to come to my place. Nothing to do with me. Then why did you take me to buy a dress? Why invite me to your birthday party? My voice, choked with sobs, made me feel so embarrassed, but I couldn't help wanting answers. Jack pinched the bridge of his nose, his voice filled with helplessness. By that logic, does that mean I have a relationship with everyone I invited to my birthday? And the dress, you begged me to go with you to buy it, didn't you? My tears finally spilled over. I lowered my head, fiercely wiped my eyes, and ran out of Jack's apartment. Back then, to pursue Jack, I rented a place in his building, thinking proximity would help me get closer to him. After nearly a year of living here, I had only bonded with Jack's mom. There was no progress between me and Jack. He was still as unapproachable as ever. All for the sake of a night in the rain. When Jack handed me an umbrella, I dove in headfirst. Because Jack needed coffee every day, I squeezed time from painting to learn how to make coffee and latte art at a cafe. After graduating college, I juggled my main job as a painter while making coffee for Jack at his company daily. I turned down offers from art galleries in my home country just to stay in Germany to pursue him. I thought if I treated Jack well with all my heart, he would be moved one day. Just yesterday, he had invited me to his birthday party and agreed to buy a pretty dress with me. I thought he was finally starting to feel something for me. This morning, at his company making coffee, I overheard his secretary chatting. You guys don't know, but there's always been a woman's photo in Jack's study. Poor Mandy, Jack's had someone in his heart for ages. I didn't believe it then. How could such a cold man silently love someone for so many years? Now I know. It's not that Jack can't fall in love. He just won't fall for me. I naively assumed that treating someone well would always be returned. Whenever I acted cute, asking Jack to praise my coffee, I ignored the impatience in his eyes. Whenever I told him how much I liked him, I pretended not to see the indifference in his gaze, deceiving myself into thinking Jack would eventually like me. If I had known from the start that Jack had someone he loved, I would never have thrown my whole heart into this pursuit. But it's not too late. Not every story has a perfect ending. Adults need to know when to cut their losses. Back in my rented apartment, I impulsively wanted to throw away the white taffeta mermaid dress laying on my bed. But then I thought, why should I take out my anger on a beautiful dress because of Jack? It cost me a lot. Jack's birthday is tomorrow. Since I'm not planning to pursue him anymore, there's no need to attend the party. I angrily put on the pretty dress, called my idol best friend to do my makeup, and headed to her bar to check out some handsome guys. At the bar, a handsome bartender pushed over 2 cocktails. Ladies, here's 2 first love for you. Already downing 2 vodkas, I had Emily pull the drinks away. Seeing the first love cocktails, I started crying again. Mandy, it's just one lousy man. If you want to date, I can find you plenty. Emily hurriedly drank both cocktails herself, wincing at the sourness. Alan, what the heck is this? It's so sour. It's got a whole half lemon in it. Of course it's sour. First love is like that. I tried to open my eyes wide, feeling the world sway, and started crying again at the words first love. Emily, I feel so awful. It hurts so much here. I couldn't tell if it was my head or my heart hurting as I clung to Emily. I'm terrible with alcohol. The more I drink, the less control I have, doing whatever I get a notion to do, a complete drunken mess. Emily and the handsome bartender each grabbed one of my hands and put me in a car. The apartment elevator rose from the basement to the first floor. The door opened, and there was already someone inside, the cold face painfully familiar. I turned my head with a huff. Emily, we'll take the next one. There's only one elevator here. I didn't move, standing my ground. The man sighed. Get in. Despite his cold appearance, his tone was gentle. I angrily pulled Emily and the others into the elevator, my shoulder smacking hard into Jack, shoving him into the corner. When we got home, I lay on the bed and squinted as Emily removed my makeup. Mandy, we're heading out now. You just sleep here, okay? I rubbed my flushed face against the pillow. Got it. You guys go, I'm going to sleep. After the door closed, I turned my head to look at the dim lamp by the bed and sniffled, telling myself, no crying, no crying. Mandy is the happiest. What's so great about Jack? Such a stone face. Staying with him will just make me sick with stress. It's okay, Mandy. We'll just find another guy. Suddenly, I shot up. I couldn't just let it go like this. Those more than 2 years chasing him couldn't just end here. Jack, open up. Open the door and give me back my plants and goldfish. And you owe me for all the coffee I've made you over the years. I banged on Jack's door. Get out here and give me back everything I gave you. I don't want you to have them anymore. Suddenly, the door opened and Jack's cold face appeared before me. He frowned, his voice hoarse. So, who are you giving them to? The man had a black silk robe draped over his shoulders, and his wet black hair suggested he had just taken a shower. My eyes were glued to the small patch of exposed chest, and I let out a little humph. It's not for you, that's for sure. I'll give it to whichever hot guy I want. Move aside, I need to get my stuff. I was about to push past him when he grabbed my hand. His arm muscles tightened, and his hot body temperature startled me. What are you doing? Get out. That's when I finally noticed something was off. Were you drugged? There was a time before when Jack got drugged, and I ended up taking him to the hospital. Realizing something, I pushed Jack inside. Part of his robe slipped off, and I reached out to untie the sash around his waist. Jack lifted my chin, his eyes dark. What are you trying to do? I swatted his hand away, and bluntly pulled off his robe. Of course, I want to do you. Next thing I knew, Jack scooped me up, and his kisses came like a storm. Amidst the chaos, he brushed my sweaty hair aside and whispered, barely audible, you came to me, so don't blame me. Mandy, stop falling in love with every guy you see, okay? I felt the defined abs under my hand and thought, those rumors at the office were right. CEO really does have a strong build. In the middle of the night, the white irises on the windowsill were jolted awake, watching as my slender wrist tried to escape, but got pulled back. When I woke up, I found myself draped over Jack. Squinting from sleep, I saw his cool, strong chest right before me. Just as I was about to get up, a large hand pressed me back down. Sleep a bit more. His voice was steady. Exhausted, my head still foggy, I naturally fell back to sleep. When I woke up again, it was already 1 in the afternoon. My phone on the bedside table was buzzing non-stop. I picked it up and saw multiple missed calls from Kevin. Kevin, Mandy, Mom fainted this morning and was taken to the hospital. She's been calling for you since she woke up. Kevin stopped there, but I knew they had always wanted me to come home. Kevin, why did Mom suddenly faint? Someone else took the phone and Mom's voice came through. Mandy, Mom's fine. It's just lovesickness. Always thinking about my daughter in Germany, and my heart aches. Kevin's voice came back. Mom, who stayed up playing mahjong until 3 in the morning, then skipped breakfast and fainted. The call fell into silence. Finally, I couldn't help but cough. Mom, Kevin, I'll buy a ticket and come home today. Really? Both voices sounded surprised. I stayed silent for a moment, then spoke a bit reluctantly. I miss home more than here. After hanging up, I saw a white note on the bedside table. It had Jack's precise handwriting. You don't need to make coffee today. Wait for me to come back. What? He already has someone he likes, and he still wants me to wait for him. A surge of anger rose in me. Finally, seeing the marks on my waist and the bite on my collarbone, I exploded. I moved my potted plant and goldfish tank back to my apartment. I also took the Panama Geisha coffee beans Jack got at an auction for over 700,000. I left a note behind, for all the coffee I made you. When I got back to New York, it was around 7 in the morning. Walking out of the airport, I saw a black car parked quietly nearby. The door opened, and a man in a black suit stepped out. Kevin, my biological father's son, and my elder by 5 years. Want to get something to eat? My eyes lit up, nodding eagerly. Thanks, Kevin. You're the best. I jumped up and hugged Kevin's neck, giving him a loud kiss on the cheek. Mandy, have some shame, will you? I huffed, tossed my luggage to Kevin, and got into the passenger seat. When we got to the old restaurant, a skinny guy was slouched behind the counter, looking like he was asleep. When Kevin went to pay, he tapped the counter with his knuckle. The guy lifted his messy head, his delicate features marred by a frown that could kill a fly. He seemed ready to shout fuck, but he didn't. When he saw me, he let out a little snort. Pretty cute, huh? Even though he was complimenting my looks, I could sense a weird hint of jealousy in his tone. It was my sister, Mandy. I turned abruptly to look at him. Kevin had that doting smile on his face, which gave me goosebumps. I glanced back and forth between them, feeling like I had stumbled upon something big. On the way home, I kept sneaking looks at the driver's seat. "If you have something to say, just say it," he said in a calm tone. "Kevin, you guys." I put 2 fingers together. He glanced at me during a red light. Surprised. I shook my head furiously. "No way. I saw guys kissing all the time in German bars." As soon as I said that, I covered my mouth, embarrassed. "Bars, Mandy? Your courage seems to have grown in Germany these past few years." I lowered my head, thinking about how I had slept with a guy. I couldn't help it if I was bold. When I got home, Susan rushed over and hugged me tight. "You're finally back. I missed you so much. How did you lose so much weight? If Mom finds out, she'll blame me." My mom was my birth mother. She and my father died in a car accident when I was under 3 years old. Susan was my birth mom's best friend. When no other relatives wanted to adopt me, she took me in. Where did I lose weight? Feel for yourself, it's all flesh. At dinner, Susan kept hinting about my marriage to Kevin. Finally, she said, "I think you two should just get married. We even arranged it when you were kids." I nearly sprayed my coconut water everywhere. When I was young, Susan used to tease me, asking if I wanted to marry Kevin when I grew up so we could live together forever. I chased after Kevin, calling him husband, until I was old enough to be embarrassed. Seeing Susan's twinkling eyes, I remembered Kevin's little boyfriend. "Mom, you're overthinking." In the middle of the night, my phone buzzed. Annoyed, I answered. "Mandy, where are you? Why aren't you home?" Jack's voice made me tense up. I had forgotten to block him. "What do you want?" I snapped. "I want a coffee." I remembered it was morning in Germany. "Mandy, why aren't you coming over?" His tone made my anger flare up. I wasn't obligated to make him coffee. "Is that coffee not worth your salary? How much do you want? I can pay you." His question infuriated me. All these years, he saw me as just a barista. "I'm back home. Get someone else to make it." I hung up and threw my phone, which bounced on the bed. Then I remembered to block Jack's number and Instagram. By noon the next day, I found several messages from unknown numbers on my phone. "I've transferred your salary. You must return that can of coffee beans within a week. And I won't accept mail. You must hand it to me personally. Mandy, give me the coffee beans in person, or I'll report you for theft." Trying to pressure me legally, I wouldn't return it personally. I dug out the precious coffee beans from my suitcase and mailed them along with a box of diamond-studded dolphins that Jack had given me for my birthday last year. On the 5th day after returning, the headline of a renowned New York newspaper read, "Kevin and his young boyfriend caught in a car making out." Congratulations. The picture was an obviously blurry paparazzi shot. The Chen family valued their reputation. This scandal caused their stocks to plummet, and Dad stormed into Kevin's office. I happened to be delivering documents to Kevin, and saw Dad slam the newspaper on his face. I picked it up and felt my heart drop. "Kevin, don't tell me you really did this disgusting thing." Dad clutched his chest, and I hurried to support him. Dad, calm down. Don't speak for him. He's disgraced us all." "Dad, Victor and I are serious. You were going to find out eventually." Dad raised his cane to hit him. "You want us disgraced, to kill your mom and me with anger." "Dad, Victor and I agreed not to go public. The urgent matter is PR. Tell me how you'll handle this. The photos are out. The pictures are blurry. You can't tell if Victor's a guy or girl. Where will you find a pretty girl to fool them now? Which poor girl will you use?" The room fell silent. I swallowed hard and raised my hand. "I'll take the fall for Kevin's love." After the PR team released a statement that the person in the car was actually the daughter of Kevin's parents' friend, the rumors began to die down. I paged through the stack of newspapers with interest. "Kevin, I've done so much for you. Don't you owe me something? There's an auction the day after tomorrow. Have the secretary take you." Just as I was about to cheer, a text came through. "Mandy, the coffee beans you sent are half missing." Attached was a photo of a damaged can with barely any beans left. I frowned, walked to the break room, and unblocked Jack's number. "Jack, that's the shipping problem. Don't expect me to be responsible. I already told you to deliver it personally." "All right. I'll transfer the money to you later." Since I started making my own money, I haven't asked my family for pocket money. I have some money in my account, but not enough to repay for that can of coffee beans. "But isn't there a ready-made Kevin right here? I won't accept monetary compensation for my loss." The man's voice was cold and clearly unhappy. "So what do you want? Come back and marry me." The man's firm words shook me deeply. "Why? Because we had sex. So, it's not that he suddenly fell in love with me like I thought." I tried to ignore the sour feeling in my chest and said casually, "I'm about to marry someone else. I don't need you to take responsibility." "Jack, think of another way to compensate me." The phone was silent for a long time, then I heard a light laugh. "Then come back and make me another cup of coffee." I thought about it for a while, just about to agree when Kevin knocked on the pantry door. "Mandy, let's go home." I quickly agreed to Jack. "All right. I'll come back the day after tomorrow." It was 2 a.m. when I got to Germany. The apartment I rented was still there, and just as I was about to close the door, a large hand suddenly stopped it. Jack was wearing a black silk robe, looking pale. I didn't have time to think about why he happened to be here at this hour, before he startled me by grabbing my hair. The man lifted me up, his bare chest hot against my face. "Jack, what are you doing? Are you crazy?" Fearing he might drop me, I clung to his coarse black hair. Without saying a word, he just stared at me with his dark eyes. Our apartments were only 1 floor apart. He carried me up the stairs and into his apartment. "Make me coffee." I saw a brand new coffee machine at his bar and widened my eyes. "Dude, are you serious? Coffee in the middle of the night?" For some reason, my words triggered him. He suddenly carried me into the bedroom and put me on the bed. His veiny hand started unbuttoning my shirt, and I slapped it away. Looking at Jack's calm face, my chest felt inexplicably bitter. My overly active tear glands made my voice come out choked. "What do you think I am? You just want coffee, right? I'll make it for you, okay?" After saying that, I angrily pushed him away and walked to the coffee machine. Jack followed me closely. I ignored him and recklessly added sugar. After making a cup of cappuccino, I handed it to him and was about to leave when Jack pulled me into his arms by my waist. "Why didn't you make latte art?" His chin pressed against my neck, his hot breath on my skin. I shivered, thinking about all the hot latte art I used to make for Jack. I expressionlessly pushed him away. "There are plenty of people who'll make it for you. I only agreed to make you coffee." Jack pinned me down on the bed. "If not for me, then who?" "For that so-called fiancé of yours." Jack leaned in, gently caressing my messy hair. "What does it matter to you? I only make latte art for my husband." I turned my face away. "Don't touch me." His warm breath suddenly rushed over me. I could barely breathe, scratching at his back, but soon my wrists were pinned to the bed. Tears streamed down my face, and I gave up struggling. Jack stopped, his voice hoarse. "Now it still doesn't matter." Jerk. Jack's eyes dimmed, his hand gripping my waist. "Who's been with you every birthday? Who lets you flaunt your claim on me at my company every year?" I reminded him angrily. "Doesn't it make you a jerk too, if you don't even like me, but still treat me this way?" "How do you know I don't?" My phone, lying to the side, suddenly started ringing. Kevin's name appeared on the screen between us. For safety, I always just saved names without other details. Jack seemed to sense my tension. "Is that your fiancé?" I struggled to hang up, but Jack stretched his long arm and grabbed the phone. "Wanna tell him what we're doing right now?" I glared at him angrily, wiped my tears, and pulled the covers over myself, feeling defeated. "Whatever, I'm still going to marry him." The room went silent, and the phone eventually stopped ringing by itself. "Mandy, I should never have trusted you. You're just fickle, chasing me, then wanting to dump me once you get me. What gives you the right to say that? Isn't it true? I heard you say it to your friend myself." The man laughed coldly. "Plenty are chasing me, Mandy. You'll dump Jack once you stop liking him, and he won't mean a thing." I opened my mouth to retort, but suddenly remembered I did say that. The 3rd week I was chasing Jack, Emily teased me. Embarrassed and trying to save face, I boastfully said those words. Seeing my silence, the man's eyes dimmed. "Doesn't matter. I'll stick to you like gum, and keep you from being a player." I was so angry, I threw a pillow at him. He caught it and walked out of the bedroom. "I'll sleep outside." In my sleep, I drowsily felt like I was being cradled like a cocoon. When I woke up the next morning, I walked out of the bedroom and saw Jack working on his laptop on the sofa. I headed straight for the door. "Come eat breakfast." I ignored him, tried the door handle. It didn't budge. I tried again. It was locked. I turned to look at the man on the sofa. His eyes were hard to read behind his frameless glasses. "I need to go back." He didn't respond, his long fingers tapping on the laptop. I instinctively checked my pocket. No phone. I stomped back to the bedroom, but despite searching, I couldn't find my phone. Fists clenched, I marched up to Jack and slammed his laptop shut. He looked up. "Go eat breakfast. Give me my phone." The man stood up, ignoring my struggle, and carried me to the dining table like carrying a child. On the table was a cup of cappuccino, with a pitiful attempt at a heart-shaped latte art. He sat me down on his lap and brought breakfast to my lips. "Eat your breakfast first, and then we'll go out to buy you some colored diamonds that you like." I kept my mouth shut, refusing to accept his feeding. "If you don't eat now, you won't eat at all today." My stomach hadn't received food in a long time. A true man knows when to yield and when to bend. So, I opened my mouth in shame. I took a few sips from the cappuccino cup, then placed it aside, and eventually Jack finished it. Phone. I opened my hand and stared directly at Jack. The man handed me a phone, but it wasn't mine. You can use mine for now. It doesn't have a password. You jerk. He didn't respond. I took a deep breath, opened the dial pad, and input Kevin's number. Thank goodness my family was worried about me being abroad alone, so they made me memorize everyone's phone numbers from home. The phone rang a few times before it was picked up. Kevin, The phone was snatched away. On the other end of the call, a man's voice said, Mandy, are you okay? Jack ended the call. What did you call him? Jack, are you done yet? Are you having fun? If you don't let me out, I'll call the police. I was so furious I kicked the man in the shin. He leaned in close to my neck, took off his glasses with one hand, and laughed softly. Mandy, you've been messing with me for 3 years. Do you think it's fun? My body went rigid, as if the only thin layer of dignity left on me had been ripped away. Can't I just regret it? Let's end this. You go chase your first love, and I'll live my own life. First love, what's that about? Before I could explain further, the doorbell rang. Jack released my hand. It's probably the assistant. We'll talk about the first love later. As soon as the door opened, a fist flew directly at Jack. Two tall men quickly started fighting. I sat at the dining table, watching it all unfold by the door, shocked enough to take a bite out of my toast. I barely had time to wonder how Kevin got here when their punches scared me. Just as I was about to rush over to stop them, Victor emerged from somewhere and calmly blocked me. Let them fight. He deserves it. I swallowed and nodded dumbly. I wasn't sure who stopped the fight first, but I grabbed Kevin and Victor and tried to slip away. Mandy, Jack's hoarse voice called from behind, sounding like a storm was brewing. I didn't look back. Jack, let's end this. That night, I was packed up and taken back to my home country, forced to behave like an ostrich keeping quiet. Once home, I spent my days holed up in a friend of my parents' hot spring resort, painting when the mood struck me. Those days off were quite enjoyable. Even the servant assigned to me was a 6-foot-tall, shy, handsome young man offering full service from meals to entertainment. In the pool, pretty boys and girls in bikinis played around flirtatiously. I lay on a deck chair, legs crossed, squinting to accept the watermelon the handsome boy offered. A shadow loomed over me. I looked up to see a pair of muscular thighs encased in black suit pants. When my gaze traveled up to the person's face, I quickly sat up. Without questioning why Jack appeared here, I grabbed the model's hand and tried to leave. Let go. I paused. The hand holding the model's wrist instinctively loosened and then tightened again. The resort manager hurried out from behind Jack and urgently tried to take the handsome servant away. Manager, this is the attendant assigned to me. Miss Mandy, I'm very sorry. I'll get you a better one right away. Watching them walk away, I frowned slightly. From the corner of my eye, I glimpsed the man next to me and muttered softly, persistent as a ghost. I moved to the chair farthest from Jack, grumpily lying down to scroll through my phone. A piece of watermelon was offered to me, held by an icy, pale, and alluring hand. Take it away. I don't want it. Jack. His voice was flat. I saw you eating it happily just now. I ignored him, snorted coolly, put on my sunglasses, and closed my eyes, pretending to nap. Suddenly, cool fingertips began to gently massage my temples. I opened my eyes and sat up, annoyance bubbling. Jack, aren't you annoying? No. Are you less angry? Thinking about what happened in the study that afternoon made my chest tighten. Jack, I don't blame you for having a first love. I have nothing to be angry about. I just don't want to like you anymore. So, can you not appear in front of me? I'm really bothered by it. Under Jack's sharp gaze, my voice grew weaker. Finally, tired of seeing him, I tried to leave. As soon as my foot touched the ground, Jack scooped me up. My first love isn't someone else, so you can keep liking me. Instinctively, I held onto Jack's neck, caught off guard by his confusing words. If it's not someone else, then who is it? Let me down. It's Mandy. No. I froze in his arms, overwhelmed by a sense of absurdity, with no joy of reclaiming something lost, or the thrill of finally catching the person I liked. Once Jack seated me on the sofa in a room, I started to struggle. This time, he didn't stop me, his gaze resolute. The photo in the study is of your back. He showed me the picture on his phone. It was from 2 years ago, when I was 20. Back then, I had long, straight black hair, which I later curled into big waves to look more mature, hoping to match Jack, who was 5 years older. So, you liked me 2 years ago? I asked, struggling to articulate each word. I lent you an umbrella on that rainy night, because I liked you. Then you enjoyed my affection, looking down on me as I chased after you like a fool, right? Tears welled up in my eyes, and I couldn't believe how disgusting and pathetic that past year had been. Jack, your way of liking someone makes me sick, perhaps driven mad, he pressed me onto the sofa and kissed me deeply, filling my mouth with his cool scent. You want to be a kept man? The man paused. That's your Kevin, Mandy. Stop pushing my buttons. I'm just scared that once you catch up to me, you won't like me anymore. His muffled voice hit me hard. So, we really aren't right for each other. You won't trust me, will you? You judged me based on just one thing I said. How can I be sure you won't distrust me over something else in the future? Let's end it here. I pushed him away and left. For the next half-month, I spent entire days in the glass house, from sunrise to sunset, from blue skies to nightfall. I rarely put brush to canvas, mostly just sat there with my chin on my hand, not knowing what to think or do. The only change seemed to be the daily appearance of cans of coffee beans, and bouquets of fresh flowers with dewdrops at the door. The flowers must have been picked from the greenhouse: red roses, white gardenias, pink roses, poppies. At first, they were clumsily put together, but now they were elegantly arranged into beautiful bouquets. Seems like the flower-picking man really practiced his flower-arranging skills. Saturday was Children's Day. My parents set me up on a date in an amusement park with a stranger. His name was Vincent, wearing an exaggerated floral shirt and big shorts. Mandy, my cousin wants to come over to play. If you mind, I'll tell him not to. It's okay, the more, the merrier. Better than the two of us being forcibly set up. If I had known that person was Jack, I wouldn't have agreed to this terrible idea at all. He was wearing a white t-shirt and black track pants, looking just like a college student. When Jack went to buy ice cream, Vincent bumped my shoulder. My brother's been chasing you for a while, huh? I frowned at him, suspecting this was all staged. Honestly, I never thought my ice-cold brother could chase after someone. I didn't want to hear his nonsense, so I headed to the bumper cars. But Vincent slung his arm around my neck. You know, my aunt, Jack's mom, got pursued relentlessly by a jerk. She was naive and married him, but he didn't cherish her and lived a life of indulgence. Why are you telling me this? I felt a pang for her, that sunny woman. When Jack was 4, he caught his dad cheating with his secretary. My aunt argued with that jerk, wanted a divorce, but he refused. In the scuffle, Jack got hurt. His head got bashed, bled a lot. Eventually, they divorced, but Jack changed a lot afterward, turned into a shell of himself. Vincent's voice held obvious disdain. He likes someone, but never takes initiative. Deserves it when the girl leaves. I tried to look at Vincent with indifference, my fingers twitching in frustration. You want me to pity him? Vincent uncomfortably touched his nose. No, I just felt like sharing. Don't tell him I spilled his secrets. I turned, looking at the tall man not far away. A few pretty girls circled him. Something he said made them look my way, and then they walked away. From a safe distance, I saw him smile at me, so I looked away. Jack came back, with a pretty blueberry ice cream for me and a plain vanilla one for Vincent. Vincent complained that Jack forgot about him once he had a girlfriend. I stared at that blueberry ice cream and swallowed my pride. Took it. Thanks. Try it, see if it's good. When we played bumper cars, it was in pairs. Vincent dragged a little boy along to drive one. I sat at the steering wheel, trying hard to ignore the man beside me, guiding the car. A car shot out from the side, catching me off guard. Jack reached from behind, taking control, avoiding the hit. The little boy pointed at us, saying, Kevin, why are they driving together? Vincent quickly covered the boy's mouth and drove away. The man was still holding me, and I didn't move away. I took a deep breath. Do you know how hurtful your words were in the study that day? He leaned his head on my shoulder. I know. I'm sorry. I panicked. Didn't want you to find out. It won't happen again. Why didn't you tell me you liked me sooner? After a long silence, he hugged my waist tightly. I was afraid you'd stop liking me once you had me. Mandy, I was scared. Mandy, my parents' marriage was a disaster. I trembled. So why are you here now? You didn't trust my love, right? Mandy, I was wrong to judge everyone by that jerk's actions. Being with you, I won't fear anything anymore. I turned to face Jack. He sighed and gently touched the corner of my eye. Why are you crying again? Your fault, I muttered. He hugged me tighter. I'm sorry. I won't make you upset ever again. 2 years later, Jack and I went from friends to lovers. He wrote me a letter. You don't want to plant flowers, you say. I don't want to see them wither bit by bit. Yes, to avoid an ending, you avoided every beginning. Mandy, if I had read this poem sooner, I would have confessed my feelings that rainy night. In college, as you sat in the glass house painting flowers, you never knew a man was there by the greenhouse, stopped by the beautiful scenery you made. I promise you, I will offer the loyalty of one who has never cared before.